What's up, everybody? Brian here with Fixed Air Moon, keeping the collective fixed on astrology. I hope you guys are all doing well. Crazy energy last night. Hope everybody was able to stay safe while, getting their voice out there and doing their thing. I know it was a crazy night. Hey, if you enjoyed this video or any of the videos in the past, please subscribe to the channel, like it, throw me some comments, hit the bell for notifications if you want the updates for when I put these out. They are 6 days a week, so helps get the channel out there, and I enjoy getting this message out there to people. So if you enjoyed the content, please help me spread the message. I would really appreciate it. Sun today, it is May 30th. 2020, almost done. One more day after today. So we are at 9 degrees of Gemini with our sun. Venus is over here just getting closer and closer, coming towards that inferior conjunction point with the sun, or with our Earth, actually, is what it is. It's kind of like a new moon phase, to be honest with you, and it's when Venus is closest to the Earth, but it's also when Venus goes behind the sun and makes the transition to the morning star. So we will see her in the morning soon enough. She's got to go to the underworld for a little bit, which is kind of symbolic of kind of what we have to do right now in our physical reality. We got the moon here at 17 degrees, coming off that opposition to Mars, but also making an opposition today to Neptune. Emotionally, also, I will say that the moon is squaring Venus. That's pretty important too. So it's another T-square because Venus is making a square to the midpoint, actually, of Mars and Neptune. This is significant because kind of like the sun was the focal point of the last T-square, and it's called T-square because if you draw a line from there, you get the T. So that's why we call it a T-square, if you didn't know. So this is putting a lot of pressure on our values, our beauty, what we love, and relationships, and not even just like boyfriend girlfriend relationships. Like, this is like relationships with like everybody. Like, people are super split right now, but they're also coming together. So I think there's some confusion there, and I think Neptune can sometimes bring that confusion with it, right? The delusion of Neptune, where there's higher frequency there, and it could be, messages from spirit and God, but if you're not connected on that level, it could just be the opposite, which is messages from who knows, or just delusion and not seeing things clearly. And emotionally, that affects us and our reality. And it's another heavy energy day today. Same with tomorrow. Everything's still ramping up, and just change, it's mutable change, more of that mutable change. It's another mutable square. So this energy is about change, and it's about finding a new way, and we're getting there. Like, it's good. Like, I know some people don't want to see protests and stuff like that, but fact of the matter is, we got to come together for equality for all, and we got to stop letting people in control use their power and control for what isn't protecting and serving people. Like, let's be honest, that's not okay. That can't fly any longer. So I think, with energy like this, it's going to be more emotional. It's going to be more, we're really going to start fighting for values today, which we have been, but today's even more with Venus in the picture, really right at that midpoint of Mars and Neptune. So it still has Mars in the picture, and honestly, Mars and the sun are going to be squaring off until next week, until the eclipse. They actually have an exact, I believe it's a 14-degree square on June 5th when we have our first lunar eclipse of the season. So it's not like things are over by any means. Things are just still ramping up. They're still going. Remember, the sun's making these hard Ceci squares over to all this energy in Capricorn and Aquarius with these heavy hitters. Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. And it's big change, and change. We got to bring on that change for a new world. You know, Saturn still wants us to think about the new world, the new age of Aquarius that we're coming into, but it's hard at first, and change isn't often easy. And we got to remember that there's also the semi-square from Mars coming down to Pluto and Jupiter. It's just, it can't be like everybody just stand out there with a sign sometimes. Like, sometimes you got to burn shit down. And I don't even like to say that, but that's the change that has to happen. Like, you look back at any big change that's ever happened in history, and things had to go down, and points had to be made. And I'm more of a peaceful person myself, but I totally understand where people are coming from right now. And I think that's just Gemini too. We got to understand there's more to it than just like the one thing we believe, and we got to see people for what they're seeing. And yeah, which isn't easy to do, but it's important. And I think that we are getting this aspect today where Lilith is making a sextile over to Mars. So while there's all this stress and all this stuff going on, it's like it feels good to fight for what we truly believe in and truly value. Like, it feels good, and there's something to be said about that, because values are very important, and our reality is important, and the reality has to change. And Lilith in Taurus is like, look, if the reality that you have doesn't feel good and doesn't bring you love, then it's got to change. And Mars is like, yeah, I'm with you. It's got to change. Let's go. So Mars and Lilith teaming up with good energy can be a good thing, because it'll feel good to get that out. And yeah, it's heavy today. Let's look at later today. This is when the Moon and Neptune make their exact opposition at 20 degrees. So 2020, there's been a lot of conjunctions, squares, a lot going on with the 20. This year is just insane with the 2020s, and it's just very symbolic of where we are. What else is going on is we're getting this square. That's actually tomorrow, sorry. Yeah, Venus is getting closer to the sun, and we're making more of these squares. So it's Venus, the sun, and it's still Mars and Neptune, and it's still putting some pressure on the Moon. This weekend's just a lot. It's a lot of this is still later today in the afternoon, but it's just gonna heat up. Let's look at Sunday. Sunday, the Moon moves into Virgo, so there's gonna be justice, right? There's going to be some more justice coming out, I think, and we're going to feel more justified for fighting for the reality we wanted in Virgo. And that's great, but we're also making a square over to Mercury. So while we're fighting for all that, it's going to be hard to express the emotions of equality today. It might seem like it's still not fair. It might feel like we're not able to express these emotions of equality yet, but it's just the beginning, and we're also making good aspects to Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter today with our Moon. Or not to date, this is Sunday, I apologize. But this is, we're making trines over to all that with the Moon. So coming off that first quarter square, we're going to get back in our feelings. We're going to start trying to find equality, and it might not look like it's there, but we're starting to feel it. It's just a matter of being able to express it and express those feelings with Mercury and Cancer, and not. Honestly, Mercury and Cancer's kind of upset, a lot. Mercury and Cancer, there's a lot to spew out, throwing up the emotion. But these trines over to everything in Capricorn is okay, we're feeling better. There's gonna be some emotional justice, and we're getting the change in the structure that's been been what it has been for a long, long time, but it's changing now. And it's very good that it is changing. Man, you know, it's more of the same for Sunday that I already talked about, but every day Venus is getting a little bit closer to the sun to make that inferior conjunction, which is, like I said before, it's kind of like a new moon phase. It's kind of like a new cycle for Venus, and it's hard. It's hard because it's retrograde, and this is one of the heaviest Venus retrogrades ever. So, you know, try and keep. There's so much going on in the world today. Try not to let your, you know, if you're in a relationship, try and see the other side of the relationship. Try and see and bridge gaps between everybody that you care about, because people are going to have different opinions right now. It's just fact of the matter. Like, some people are going to be pro change, some people are going to wish things went back to normal, and we can't have both. And to be honest with you, the only thing constant in this life is change. So we have to grow and change, and it's for the better. Like, we are all equal on this planet, and it hasn't been that way. And that's a great start, because we can't have unity until everybody's equal. And that's what we're moving into. And it's not going to be pretty at first. It's not going to be easy at first, but that's how it goes. Nothing's easy at first, and change always seems difficult, right? You're scared to make that big change in life, and then all of a sudden you make it, and you realize that wasn't so scary or hard at all. And wow, look how good we feel now. This is just on a way bigger scale, because it's 2020, and everything's changing. Pull a card for this video. The High Priestess. Kind of interesting, because the High Priestess can go back and forth between worlds, between the heavens, between the underworld, and she can see both sides, and she can see everything. And I think that's very key for us right now, is because we need to see what's really happening. And she holds the book of the Akashic records, so she already knows. And I think we all know too. I think we've had enough of this Neptune and Pisces energy for a while now, plus making all these hard aspects to the point to where I think we know too. It's just a matter of if we're going to embrace it and see both sides and use that intuition for better, and to grow from it, to see through the veil. Like, this is the Great Veil card. You can't really see on this card, but usually the High Priestess is wearing a veil, because she can see through it, and I think we're starting to see through the veil too. So I'm really glad we pulled that card. It was powerful. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Heavy energy this weekend. It doesn't really lighten up, to be honest. So stay in your heart. See other people for who they are. Love each other. Love yourself. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love you all. Take care.